say NaVi has a kinds of up, have a surprise strategy. Who knows?
I want to see how EG are playing Dota right now. We just don't really know how EG playing Dota right now.
We are actually able to go in best of one of the day. The draft's already going on, and hey, surprise! No death prop. I mean, we haven't really had the chance to talk about the patch yet, but death prop is definitely the ban side of things. I would.
Heroes are really strong right now. In the players we saw in the European scene, Prophet Lone Jude are top heroes. I think bench is quite common in all the regions. You can either play him as a support or carry.
Vengeful Spirit is a really strong hero right now, and I mean, we give some credit to Virtus Pro, who made that popular long before it spread everywhere else. Recently it's been popular in all of the regions, it got buffed further, and it makes sense to me as a first pick for EG, because actually they like to play, for a long ago, they used to play the super defensive Venge to swap people out of danger. So they could do that, they could play it as like a more farmy support, they could play it as a carry, or they could go back to the 5 position.
Will they actually play it as a carry? That's actually a big question mark. It feels like it would not suit a carry player. Either RTZ or Sumil or carry bench doesn't feel like their stuff.
Turn to pick.
I do want to point out Sumil is here though.
Oh, in the
so we're just drafting so long.
No, he's in the lobby as well. So, the name is missing.
I see. Yeah, so I mean, I think Winter's a good point there, which is that Vengeful Spirit carry doesn't seem like a Sumil or Natus hero, but at the same time, we were speaking previously before the stream about how this is still a team that's recently adjusted to having Arteezy and Sumil together on a team, and to adjust some of the kinds of heroes their players played in order to work those two players together who are, historically they were both very kind of one position, the main carry player. So it wouldn't surprise me that much if they tried to like test something new, get of them into the Vengeful Spirit role.
It's best of one though, so it can be dangerous for them to do that if they are not that. And wow, that's an early pick for the reload. I think we see this a lot during TI4 era when G are playing against Wiz. They like to Zai on the Enigma back then. The power farm and fights is just counter towards.
Also seeing how we play it, and I think if we look at this meta, we were talking a lot about how there's potential for a lot of like kind of semi-deathball pushing. Enigma is a nice hero in that it out of a push with the Eidolons, but it also kind of counters the push in the sense that group up, you go for the base, and then you have to worry about Black Hole.
Do you think there's a chance that they might actually put... Because I remember there were some games that when played Enigma, it was...
Has played it.
Yeah, there's only 2 players, like Ice and you are the 2 offenses that actually played Enigma.
Yeah.
Imagine that they're gonna keep that open very last. It doesn't look like NaVi is expecting
5 seconds remaining.
I think that I've seen ISSS play it actually maybe in this patch, so I definitely think it's something that people might think about, and at very least I'll say that PPD will be considering during the draft that if we need to switch it to offlane, that's something we could do.
Yeah, because right now with the camp, it's like the offlane, so it's a little bit stronger on the offlane because you can actually farm the camps pretty snap pulse. You fill out the trees and stack, so it might be an option for them. So NaVi are gonna pick out the Brood, obviously. IO strats, you are gonna have most likely 2-1 want to go up against the Brood, and they take out the Beast as well. Because
I have a question. Patch is doing making sure that every team has a mech builder, because
10 seconds remaining.
That mech where you... So far, I would say Enigma could be a mech.
5 seconds remaining.
NaVi, what plan? Are they gonna go offlane? Vincere is as well, who I normally feel like that's a hero. Man, fairly.
Evil geniuses.
Yeah, like certain teams like there's a hero. You go to the offlane, you don't really care about who you're facing up against. You always able to get out of the lane. So certain teams will tend. But right now, if you're talking about these 2 teams, quite likely for both teams to go Vincere in your Vincere plus SB. Go offlane together.
Okay.
Quite effective, and for EG. I think for EG, if you pick the Darkseer, because you want to have offlaner that needs 3 heroes to take care of, so your Enigma you want to run a jungle Enigma. I think Enigma can be...
Reserve time.
Might be what they're thinking right now, actually. Pick the Darkseer right now. then you kind of give away that the Enigma's in the jungle.
Yeah, true.
And so PPD is maybe thinking, okay, well, even if we wanted, we can't take it right away. Whereas NaVi, I definitely do see NaVi running Darkseer Spirit Breaker. They've done it before. I actually think Darkseer is probably Akmo's best offlane hero. So
Don't you like his tiny?
I like his tiny, it's interesting, but I think Darkseer, I've seen him win games for the
It's more
team.
stable.
Yeah, exactly, it's more
Navi's
stable.
turn to pick.
Tiny can be.
The dynamic of this draft, I don't know if you agree with me, but I feel like we're setting up for a pretty classic dynamic where Navi's going to go for quite a lot of aggression with the Spirit Breaker, IO, the pack.
Yeah.
And it's going to be a case of like, do EG handle the early aggression? And if they do, they'll probably be fine. And if they don't, they might have a lot of trouble.
Basically EG more late game right now and their lineup because they have jungling Enigma. And
10
Navi has to
seconds
be the
remaining.
team on the aggressive side because you want to punish the Enigma
5
and
seconds
make more
remaining.
plays. You're more pressured if you're. Right now, EG goes for even more late game with
Reserve
the Ember.
time.
Very strong versus IO because when you relocate him out, like very easy for him to ganks, even against the SV. So EG are just gearing up for a lot of late game and see what Navi does now to actually try to.
Styles, but especially on this patch.
I mean, if you ask me, I would always prefer to have a style that can actually sit and wait. You don't really feel forced to make moves. When the type of situation happens, under pressure situation, you're more likely to make a mistake because you know, okay, guys, we have to move and blah blah blah. You know, if you don't move now, we're gonna
Evil
as the game goes on. But that's usually not a very good mentality. I feel pressure situation.
I like what EG are doing because if you look at EG's
Navi's
picks,
turn
they've got
to
picks
ban.
which, including the Omni Knight they've just picked up now, they have picks which, if they get an early lead, they could actually convert and push with the Venge Enigma, even the Omni Knight's heal.
Team fight. Very
yeah.
good team fight.
It's not required of them, you know, so I think EG maybe discovered in their bootcamp
10 seconds
for this tournament
remaining.
that we want a draft which, if we win a fight, we're going to get objectives. We don't
5
necessarily have to be the team
seconds
forcing the
remaining.
fights.
Yeah,
The other
we can
team.
take it slow. So it's a way of like
Reserve
like
time.
playing against Navi especially. Navi is gonna draft very early game, they run at you, and so you just need to survive the early game, pick late game, and right now I think the Omni Knight, I think the way EG runs the Omnis on Universe off lane, Enigma gonna be junk, and most likely most of the situations you want against Omni because on off laners, Omni certain matchups he can actually get a lot. So
Evil
not an off laner you want.
turn
It's like
to
very
ban.
similar to a Baron. If you give him a lot in the lanes, levels up and basically feel can't actually.
That's
win.
meant to be the difficult part of the game.
We can't win a team fight because Omni has so much levels or Abaddon has so much level. That is something that Navi needs to pay
10
attention to.
seconds remaining.
Omni Knight doesn't get.
Before we started, actually, said you want to
Navi's
test
turn
winter
to pick.
draft prediction.
Yeah.
This is your chance.
You
It's
want
very
me to,
tricky.
you want me to guess the last pick?
I want both to guess last picks. Make it a contest.
I mean, I still felt like Navi could very likely go for that Darkseer. I don't know if it changes things now there's the Omni Knights. I think maybe it makes it slightly weaker.
I think they'll pick support probably SB is their off lane.
EG is expecting
Maybe a Rubik plus Gyro.
10
I'm not sure.
seconds
Rubik Gyro and then
remaining.
with.
Yeah, Rubik's really nice
5
there.
seconds
So
remaining.
I don't know. Maybe I'm just gonna keep the pressure and agree for Rubik. But let's say I'm not totally
Reserve
shocked if they bring
time.
out the Dark.
Okay, and for EG, will then also depend on what you have one in mind. Omni Knight kind of says like, hey, we have
Darkseer.
Darkseer,
Evil
guys.
geniuses
Hey!
turn to pick.
I should have
Well,
stuck to my guns.
No, I still feel like you got that one. You just,
Yeah, I mean,
you fall under pressure of
it
thinking,
makes
oh my
sense.
god, he's
It
the
makes
drafting
sense.
god.
We talked about it earlier, like
Yeah.
Darkseer plus SB could be a really early game to pressure because we know that Navi needs to put a lot of pressure early since he has a much greedier lineup. So
It's a
gonna
core
be
bench.
A core bench. So that's not something. Core bench means that tempo can be faster. So maybe they feel like, oh, okay, Navi has so much early game right now. We can't really go too greedy. So we just go for a safe laner that also we don't actually go under the early game. We know we have Enigma and we have Omni Knight. As long as we survive the early game, we're gonna be fine when it comes to team fight.
So which draft do you prefer? The question, or rather, let me rephrase that. What moment do we need to, as viewers, watch out for in this game? Which moment will you think will tilt the game to one side or the other?
For me, I think for Navi, it's always gonna be like when we talk about Gyro, he's cooldown.
Okay.
How much can
10
he accomplish?
seconds remaining.
And for obviously for EG, they don't really have to do anything. So the key
5
point will be on the
seconds
Omni Knight, whether
remaining.
he's there to counteract the cooldown rotation from the gyro, or does he have enough levels at that point to
Thing that you're gonna look out for this game?
I think the pressure could be even earlier than the gyro rotation on NaVi. I think their Spirit Breaker Darkseer lane
SV
has to get value.
Yeah, true.
And if that lane fails somehow, they're in huge trouble.
Kind of hard to feel,
Yeah.
feel that lane, right? Because Darkseer SV against, it's gonna be Dazzle and Venge.
Yeah.
So there's a very good chance of them succeeding in the lane.
Well, we're gonna find out if they're gonna do that, and when those rotations come in from both the teams, we are gonna go for a quick break from our sponsors, and when we're back, it is time for LD and Gods with our first game of the day, NaVi versus EG.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I believe we're actually live and ready to go now. NaVi taking on EG Gods. This is an exciting match. NaVi have not looked like the NaVi of old, but they have been making some strides with the addition of Ditya Ra, and we've seen Axmo actually filling in pretty nicely for the team. Definitely still underdogs. How do you feel about the drafts? Well, I guess first point here, before we get into the draft analysis, is that Winter was wrong, and we're already grooming his replacement here in Scat, who is off to a hot start on day number 1.
It's a good thing we brought Scat along. I could already tell Winter was on the fall. Like, he peaked PI maybe with his draft prediction, but
get your shit together, Winter.
Yeah.
You're on your home turf here in Minsk. It is really
Home
cold.
turf?
It's Winter's homeland.
Yeah.
This
he
is
struggles more in the cold
kingdom
than
of
anyone.
Winter.
He actually is the opposite of his name. But, in the drafts, I think two kind of different approaches to how the new patch is going to be played. As far as looking kind of to play kind of stalling Dota on the east side of EG, play more towards the late game into kind of reactionary Dota, whereas NaVi are going to be the ones who are going to be dictating the pace of the game and deciding kind of where the action happens.
And definitely the team that needs to be. You look at their draft, they have mainly Puck as the hero that can actually catch out an Ember later on. And I would say one of the better heroes in the game to catch Ember, but it goes late. You're going to need that Hex. We might have a Lincoln Sphere. They have some good defensive supports like the Venge, so it's not an easy game to deal with.
Yeah. So I think they're going to hit this good mid-game kind of timing where they've got the right items to be able to handle the Ember, but if they don't punish him enough or if they don't win the game during that period and get far enough ahead, then they're going to be in trouble. So
I like how Dendy's all smiles, and then I believe that's their manager or maybe their coach who just looks like he's going to kill somebody if they don't get their act together. But here we go, guys. Welcome. It is day 1 of Starladder I-League Season 13. Here in Minsk, we're getting ready for the group stages, and we begin with EG taking on the underdogs in NaVi. But NaVi, come main event, should they make it there, will definitely have some big crowd support.
I mean, the analyst talked to me about the Darkseer Spirit Breaker lane getting something done, but it looks like it's actually going to be Darkseer in the safe lane, at least start things off with NaVi trying to contest bottom lane, which is an interesting choice. Gyrocopter down here getting aggressive. It is a very strong dual lane for EG with Venge as a core with a Dazzle, but then you've got the jungling here, which is kind of where NaVi decided, okay, you're going to run a greedy jungler, we're going to pressure lane. Something that used to happen quite a lot against in drafts was just these aggro tri-lane versus dual lane setup.
And then you often see the kind of like, keep away game where Enigma goes to the Ancients or, sneaks into your jungle and just tries to avoid those early confrontations. EG, 3 heroes camping out the top rune, so it is in fact going to be Universe on the Omni as we were watching the draft here in the casting booth. As you thought would definitely be the case, and it's a very level-dependent hero, so that's where putting him in the off-lane quite a bit of sense. That's another thing I think worth mentioning is they don't really have a great solution for Repel this game either, so should it go late, killing that Ember will be...
So Darkseer versus Omni Knight 1v1. Darkseer favored matchup, but I think an Omni at least will be happy because this is a hero who isn't picked at the moment, not because he's weak by any means. You look at what this hero can do around like the level 8, 9, 10 mark with just basic items he owns.
Oh, Samiko sneaking in the roaming courier snipe on the
to start
West. He knows that Salve is here. Hey, Donkey, how you doing? He gets the job done. Nice pick there by Samiko. At game 1 underway, and with this build, that means he's not going to actually have the bottle gold for a while, but Salve deal with the harassment. So may need a support to camp out the lane a little bit.
I mean, talking about NaVi. I just talked about, okay, NaVi, Winter, they'll, around first cooldown, they'll start getting aggressive. It's kind of like, oh, the Darkseer Spirit Breaker in lane. No, it's even earlier and with other heroes. Like the Courier Snipe, you've got a Spirit Breaker bullying the support Dazzle. Like, this is NaVi going all out of
They warded off the jungle, and now they are charging onto Mr. PPD. Gets caught by the initial charge. Some harass here from Seneko. Do they want to die fully? Not ready to commit. They are keeping the pressure on pretty much everywhere, and you see the Enigma as they look to dive this bottom lane has rotated up to the top side of the map, so he's not able to really assist the tri-lane. Fear will get his early levels, but just any second now, it feels like this bottom lane could erupt in a bloodbath.
I think if you look at the vulnerable lanes for Navi, it's top. So something like an Enigma around level 4, you have 2 points in stun or 2 in the conversions, you can actually kill the Darkseer. So if you're EG and you're thinking, okay, this lane state's going to go bad, where can we pressure them? You're looking at that Darkseer and how he's vulnerable early on.
I love how they've done this, where they get the courier, and then normally your mid is going. Oh, Saneko getting caught out very far up, but he's going to pump the Fairy Fire, survives for now. There's the charge forward. Can they bring down Mr. Merry Day? Oh, he is going to manage to back out, so our team survive for now, but they're going to continue harassing PPD, and they have a creep wave. Wonder if they're going to consider a secondary charge. TZ is salving up now, should be okay. Over in the mid lane, Sumail out of regen, and gonna have a little bit of time before the bottle can arrive, but he's actually going in. He gets the chains off on Dendi, fully committing for this, and burns him down. First blood to Sumail. You snipe my courier. On that, Dendi. That's a great way to start the lane.
He was going to start getting bullied out of the lane anyway, so he's just like, if I can get this kill, like, I want to go back and heal up anyways. I have no courier to bring my bottle, so he dies, he spends his money, buys his bottle, and loses nothing from it, so...
And now he gets the free fountain trip as well, so he can actually get his items. Beautiful stuff. He'll respawn immediately, TP's in mid, and now Enigma has rotated back towards his own jungle. Looks like he has a camp available. Universe and Axmo. Just going to be trading experience here. It is a win by a slight margin for the Darkseer, but the lane's pushy in, so very easily equalized in terms of CS, and ultimately, if Omni is getting free levels, pretty happy with it.
Right now, it doesn't feel like the pressure from Navi has fully kind of translated into a big early game win for them. The courier snipe was nice, giving a bit of a gold boost, but I think if not for that courier snipe, you'd be looking at EG and like, man, they're crushing the lanes right now.
And Dendi's not out CSing the Emperor mid either now. With the death, especially, he's fallen quite far behind. Trying to trade blows, but over in this bottom lane. Sure. Charge, trying to find the angle. There is no stun opportunity, and now they get the rocket barrage going onto Arteezy, but he backs himself away. There's the bash when you need art style. Job done though. The grave comes out from PPD. That's enough to save him, and then they turn playing into Saneko as well as art style. This Dazzler going full aggro. Venge will survive. May actually have to go back. Let's see if he's able to be healed up, and again in the mid lane, pressure comes in. Doesn't feel like Puck is really doing much here, but Artstyle looks to change it with the long-range charge. Chains may almost be cooled down by the time he arrives, and very easily be another feed towards Sumail. So they're gonna, in the end, decide not to go for it.
He needs something to sustain him up. Either go back to Fountain or just regen. He's actually going to take the bottle. Looks like he's going to secure the bottom rune for his team, so pick up for outside. And most importantly, he's level 2 right now. I feel like a lot of the aggression from Navi early on from a level 1 Spirit Breaker just isn't that potent. The charge just doesn't do anywhere near enough.
And that's why when you heard Scat talking about it, then I think it's a very fair point. Generally, that's where you see the Darkseer and Spirit Breaker working together because he needs that extra damage from the Ion Shell.
Well, all room for Artstyle. He hits his way top, returns the bottle to Dendi, and
now gallops back towards the bottom lane.
That's a way to not have to go back to Fountain.
But it doesn't seem... not only are the lanes not going particularly well, but they're not shutting down the Enigma either, who's now back in his own jungle. Did deward the one observer towards mid. Artstyle going to get caught out. The haste rate is worn off. He does charge away, bashing both on the escape. And although he makes it out, again, it's Navi's plays just minimizing casualties, not actually getting kills.
And it's just so much downtime for his Spirit Breaker. He already spent the last minute, like from like 3:45 onwards, or like even before that, he was charged towards mid, then he like grabbed the bottle off the courier, grabbed bottom rune, then went top rune, then came back mid, returned the bottle, then he went bottom. Like he's not really getting much done on the map right now.
Dendi being hunted in the trees here. Can he make it out? Saneko's arrived and wants to turn it, gets the bottle up, but Sherlock Holmes is very healthy, and Sumail's going to come in for this. Dendi with the phase shift and the silence. And Sumail a bit too far, used all the remnants on offense, didn't quite connect on the first few, the damage, and then had nothing to retreat, so a risky and aggressive play doesn't end up hitting.
It's kind of aggression that Sumail's known for, and those are the plays he loves to go for, so normally paying off there. If not for the, I mean, one, Dendi just managing to get away from the fire imps, and two, the sneaker TP in, it would have been fine. So there was like 2 things that went wrong for him, so all in all, it was a good kind of play to go for, but didn't work this time.
Oh, early on, big jump in again. Sumail just going full aggression. He has no remnants.
TP. That's all right.
Yeah, I believe Dendi wanted to take the lane, right, but Dendi's gonna get chased. Sumail just doesn't care. Run him down to half already. So it really, we talked about the Ember as a late game threat, but Sumail's decided that he's a 4-minute threat. Here's to be paying off. Charge comes in position as PPD has that Grave available. The heal bomb turns it a little bit, and they want to go aggressive onto Diyara. Artsao just praying for a bash, but not getting one. Still diving, still committing. Diyara goes in, manages to isolate PPD, sweeps by him, and gets the rocket barrage solely on that hero towards the tail end of it. Then Fear Rise looks for the black hole, but does not find Diyara. He's still caught too. The heal bomb is going to fit Fearbreaker. Now Seneko in a lot of danger. Has the tether out, but is he going to have a target? Just barely get me out of here, Diyara! And it looks like he'll make it popping the salve on the way out as is going to rotate onto that bottom rune, but doesn't look like he'll be able to get involved here in the end. Very back and forth exchanges.
Yeah, EG were ready to try and contest the bottom lane finally with the black hole timing, but they've just lost a few heroes too early on. Like NaVi going aggressive, like EG's like, okay, just bait him in, like I'm coming with the black hole, and then suddenly it's like, oh wait, we've already died, and then the black hole came and Venge and Dazzle were just not in fighting condition, so EG commit 4 heroes there and don't get the trade they were looking for, just finding 1 kill and losing a couple. So that's the first black hole. I don't think you look at it like, okay, black hole's on cooldown now. That's normally a spell you won't even see get used in the first 10 to 15 minutes of the game. But most importantly, like NaVi just dealt with EG kind of first timing very well.
Speaking of timings, looking for one in the mid lane. A dive forward, the Remnant is going to connect on Dendy. He barely pops the coil in time, but now the Io's arrived. Seneko could be in danger here too. Repel deployed and chasing onwards with auto attacks. Surviving for now while in the top lane. PPD also caught out. Looks like they're going to dive him and finish him off the Iron Shell damage. Then tax to the bottom rune. At long last, Sherlock has been caught out. Needs that Watson, but didn't quite have him in the clutch. Rocket Barrage will complete the kill. Ends up being a 3-for-1 around the map, and NaVi just constantly rotating and getting those +1s as EG continue to dive towers and make it easy for the rotations to actually have an impact in the fight.
It's crazy, like in some way I'm watching this thinking like, man, that first kill Sumail got where he solo kills Dendy maybe just like gave him too much confidence, because that's twice in a row now where he's gone a bit too aggressive and it's worked against him there. He got the first kill on Dendy, but then he chases the Io, which ultimately leads to his demise as well as Universe's with Gyrocopter rotating in. They should have just been happy with the puck kill, but he wanted more, and chasing with the kind of HP and money he had just wasn't going to work out with just a single rotation. So,
and at that point the Flame Guard had worn off. I believe might have been broken by Dendy's nukes or expired. So either way, it did not have the extra damage he was for. Style towards bottom here. So it looks like we maybe have a breather for a second, Gods. Looking at the 2 lineups, so we haven't talked much about timing windows or kind of draft strategies beyond EG wants this to go late and NaVi want to keep the pressure up. What are you looking for from each of these teams?
I think for NaVi to get their kind of core first items up, the Puck Blink, the Darkseer Mech, and just Gyrocopter more than anything, just some levels. He's level 7, has a drum, so the kind of SMY type build up, and then they are ridiculously strong. For EG, I think it's going to come down to entirely stalling out, playing more for a late game. They can try and team fight if they can like execute and get a really good black hole off, but in general it's going to be NaVi who are the kind of scarier lineup around that mid game period.
So really just waiting on the blink is the big thing here.
Yeah, I think the Puck Blink gives them that kind of guaranteed ability to kill a hero like Ember Spirit if you can blink in and follow it up with some damage from a Spirit Breaker charge, whatever, or just some extra lockdown. So EG have to really play around that and have Universe on the Omni Knight in the right position to keep kind of his teammates alive, be it Artesia on the Venge, or more importantly this game, Sumail on the Ember.
Oh, but blink is what they're waiting on. It might be a little while. Only about 600, 700 gold now up on the puck. Got a ways to go. Has been just honestly running for his life a lot from the Ember mid lane, and even with the TPs. Sumail's net worth slightly lower, but it's come at the cost of a lot of support rotation. He's just farming up the mid lane. Top rune spawns a bounty to be grabbed here by the Ember Spirit, and as much as they've been hounded and constantly under pressure, they're getting their levels, they're getting their farm. The jungle Enigma keeps them in the lead here in terms of experience, and now the mech timing. 10 minutes in, immediate response from the Darkseer mech. So it is the double mech that Shiva was mentioning. She thinks mech is a big item in this patch.
Mech, we want more too. So I think it matters more for NaVi having a mech right now, just because I mean they have the better team fight all around. Like they're going to be the ones getting aggressive with charges, Dream Coil, gyrocopter cooldowns.
They also have the worst sustain as well. Just really the IO to keep the team in fighting shape.
I mean, EG, their mech is still very important because it's great against gyrocopter cooldown because it is AoE spread damage, but they're going to be looking to use their mech, their heals more in like when they're on the defense to save heroes, whereas Navi's trying to use it to allow them to go to
Dendi, they're going to make the jump here, swap into the black hole, great combo play! No chance of escape. Houdini has been thoroughly caged.
Nice move.
And they even tried for a relocate here. Seneko.
Gyro's rotating in though.
Tried to bring him out, but it just wasn't in time. Dinyara arriving the cooldown, not very effective. Just barely clipping a couple of heroes, and immediately the heals come out. Suddenly, EG are back in full fighting force to counter mech for Maximo. Nobody dies. Everybody healthy. Bale just trading right clicks, but looks like he may want to re-engage. Universe is looking, commits the ultimate. G, perhaps a bit over-eager there. Let's see if they still want to go. They have popped the weave. Black cooldown, the swap on cooldown, and the 2 other ults from the Omni and the Dazzle. They may play it safe. On the other hand, NaVi, a little aggression.
5v5 mid, 12 minutes in, let's go. This is like overthrow or something right now. This is a fantastic LD.
I want more of this. Yeah. Please.
Not that many people died. I mean, that's the nature of the mechs, the Omni, and having an IO as well. But great kind of initiation from EG with the swap into black hole, making sure that Puck went down at all costs. And they just knew any follow-up fight, like fighting with Puck not in the picture, they could get aggressive. They have a repelled Ember Spirit, kind of reminiscent of like the old school duo with the Ember Darkseid, where you're just getting super aggressive, except this is an Ember who doesn't die, deals less damage, but having that kind of repel on him just means you can't really bring him down.
Nice work there by NaVi, just managing to get the tether slow off. His art style snuck around Arteezy's rear, but he continues to back off another bash. The Grave committed the charge through to cancel it. Art style going very aggressive, and the cooldown comes through. Will clip the bench, finishes her off. PPD could well be next. He will be. NaVi just diving, and so too is Dendi. Oh, the neutrals steal the kill on Sumail, but at least they get the kill there in the end. Fear even getting into the picture, got the counter kill in the IO. Now Artstyle could be caught on the way out. The heal bomb from Universe slams the door. So it ends up being a 3 for 2, but one of them was a neutral heal. Still, in the end, EG, it's like they got the upper hand in that exchange. Oh, that's only 2 of the kills. Yeah. It's not showing them all. Probably a pretty even exchange.
Radiant structures.
The Ember dying is going to constantly plague EG, considering his item timings is the most important of any of their core heroes. You're not thinking like, oh, where's our Venge Farm? Where's that SMY or Helm of the Dominator? You're thinking, where is Ember's Boots of Travel Battle Fury? Like, he is getting his items online as fast as possible. So for NaVi, that death there very crucial, and the kind of heroes they lost aren't really as consequential.
Taking some harass between the double heal bombs, so that'll force him back a bit, but he is closing in on the blink. And NaVi, we're in the bottom lane now. To take the tower, no defense from EG. They go split push top, rotating. It looks like 4 heroes towards that lane. See some very good deep wards. And NaVi trying to get control of the EG side of the map, but EG just gonna play keep away for now.
And these are like, you love seeing these wards as a Spirit Breaker, being able to get vision from like so early to start your charges, and just know if heroes have backup as well. That's underneath an Observer ward.
That was the drive-by smoke.
Yeah. let's smoke my charging Spirit Breaker and myself right under a ward.
They saw that swap into black hole mid, and they're like, all right, we need some swag plays of our own, but this one not very effective.
I was trying to just use like a different item, like a bottle or something, and not entirely sure.
Yeah, all the ultimates online.
The Boots of Travel money for Ember, and there we go. Some tower gold gonna secure that, but Puck's blink coming up soon, so
probably can spam out this wave, and by the time that EG could actually commit to a tier 2, and elsewhere it's NaVi's turn to apply a bit of split pressure. So we see the Venge rotating in. Swap available, believe it's still only level 1. Yeah, only level 7 here on that Venge. Time of it. Curious what the build will be for our team, but
for EG, it's difficult to fight right now. They know that gyro bottom means there's an IO behind.
Back.
Oh, they've
caught him out. Tried for the TP. The old man turning it though. The heal comes out. They've got the repel. He's caught the whole NaVi squad. They really need to end this fight in their favor. PPD keeps himself alive with the Grave, and they get completely slaughtered. Clean up in IL3 from Sumail. Looking for more. Dinyara making 4 heroes down. EG, my god, that looked bleak, but they turned it, and
yeah, everyone survives the black hole. You're like, if you're NaVi, you're like, sweet, black hole didn't kill any of us. Let's fight. We just got this gyrocopter relocated, and then suddenly Sumail's there. Hit 4 or 5 heroes with he triple fire remnant in to maximize the damage output there. He's not thinking I need a fire remnant in and save one to escape. He's like, no, let's just do as much damage as possible. And that remnant in got everyone down to critical HP before the flame guard finished them off. So being able to do that much damage with just like the Boots of Travel and Ember Spirit was just
And they're getting even more sustained now as we see Fear picking up a hood, very likely just rushing that pipe for the team. And what did NaVi have? It's all magic damage right now. Spirit Breaker with the bashes, the IO, very magic damage focus, and obviously big 3 core heroes are all almost entirely magic damage at this stage, gods.
And they just won't really be able to try and bring the ideal target at that point becomes kill him and force him to either just use his mech pipe on himself, rather than against the AoE damage. It's great, or you kill him before he uses them. But I don't think NaVi have the ability to really do that. Well,
they know the ults are on cooldown, so they may have lost a massive team fight top, but they're gonna try to take advantage of that black hole and Omniite cooldown to at least grab a Roshan. The Alpha Wolf is not as slow as it otherwise would be. Now an Aether Lens grabbed on the Omni. Man, great hero for that. It's just so hard to get kills if you're Navi. They don't have a solution for repel. It really feels like they need just a brilliant puck initiation or maybe a 3-4 hero charge.
Man, Arteezy's been demoted to support this game.
He's really in struggle city.
He was against the Navi aggro tri lane, so this is definitely not shots fired at Arteezy.
And this is not a comeback hero, the Venge.
No. That's the nice thing about the Venge, is that you still be very useful without the farm. So even though he's probably not going to catch up and be one of the top farmers at any point in this game, he can still get a lot done in a team fight just with going to treads Aquila, throw drums in there. He could go for the Ag Scepter. I remember a game where Burning was on the Venge in the safe lane. He was just having a rough game, but there was a mid hero that was carrying, kind of like this game where you've got a farm support, a farm mid. You go for something like an Ag Scepter, it's just going to give your team that extra bit of team fight, having that second life.
What do you think Navi need to get done with this Aegis? I still see a tier 1 up on the top lane here. They're still playing quite aggressively in mid. Are there any particular objectives if you're Navi? You're like, we have to get something done with this Aegis, or can they just sit back and farm?
I think they can't sit back and farm. They can't just expect to be able to 5-man down lanes and take towers. So that's where you'll just play into EG's hands. So they need to try and find the pickups. The 3-2 split they were doing, before that, as bad as that team fight was, I think it was the right way to execute your draft. You have the Gyro pushing out the bottom lane while 3 heroes are grouped together at top. So the Gyro, if he gets ganked, he gets relocated out, and you just sack the Wisp, and theoretically you've just traded the Wisp for farm across the map, which is okay for Navi. And if they take the fight top lane, then you relocate in and you get a favorable kind of 5v5, 5v4 setup. So
basically, don't get 3-man caught by Black Hole.
the Black Hole and just EG's team fight, they just played it perfectly. But I think for Navi, strategically, what they did was pretty correct there.
The tactical execution was lacking, but the strategy was good.
The thing they can do is try to find some smoke ganks and look to get pickups using the Puck Blink Dagger plus Spirit Breaker ideally.
An EG have so many defensive abilities. A swap, a grave, a heal, a repel, a mech, pipe soon to come, and just a mobile carry in the Ember. Really going to have to time your execution just right. EG on the aggressive.
Yeah, it seems they are going to look for that Gyrocopter BKB for the next fight, but as much as it keeps him alive, I'm not sure it's going to be a solution to EG.
Art style, the 3-hero charge out. Don't tell me this little bugger lives again. He's going to stick up and goes for the TP just late. Almost made it. Maybe could have kept the charge going a second or two longer and then gone for the TP, but tough one in the end. Still, Spirit Breaker tanking the 3-hero smoke gang.
Back in time to their tier 1 mid tower life. They've got such constant map presence. Tier 1 tower still being up. It's where taking that top lane fight's so easy for them because it's right by a tier 1 tower. So for Navi, they actually need to take down and break these tier 1 towers right now, which is becoming an ongoing problem.
It's not a strength of their lineup. They don't have much push. I guess the Helm of the Dominator and DRA, but you look at some of the bans this game, most of them were on pushing heroes, whether it's a Brood, a Lone Druid, Prophet.
Gets even harder now because Sumail's Battle Fury is going to be up very, very soon.
Oh, there's the pipe too. Durability of EG.
Yep. And as far as BKB Black Holes goes, there is a Nether Strike to cancel it, but always entirely reliable. So this Enigma game is looking incredible as far as what Fear can do in a team fight. Once the Guardian Greaves as well, the aura is really nice, and it's a way to get rid of the Puck Silence as well.
To mention, he'll often be the repel target if the Ember doesn't need it.
Yeah.
See a little fish from Dendy. Barry head forward.
I mean, you see, look at Arteezy. He's like willing to die here. He doesn't care. Like, if NaVi want, they could jump burst him down before Omni Knight could theoretically save him. But they, at that point, you've just overcommitted for revenge.
This is a support bench practically at this point.
Yeah, he's playing like that frontliner. Like, if he dies, doesn't matter. Kind of role here.
All right, they want to keep him alive. They give him the repel.
Yeah, I mean, ideally, yeah, you don't want to be taking casualties, but very much they know if NaVi fully commit on him, it's a bad
They are going to charge. They're committing into this massive defensive squad. The back comes out. Denny looking for the opening. The coil only managed to find PPD. And then the black hole. Where's the cancel? Do they have anything? It doesn't look like an art style will end up falling the heels from EG. Too many methods to re-engage, turn the fight. Seneko likely to be next. There will be more cleanup by Sumail. 3 heroes wiped out. Again and again, EG not even taking a scratch. Literally all 5 at full health. Doesn't matter how much damage they take, not how much they can quickly remove from their heroes.
Their sustain is too much. NaVi, there's no way they team fire now. It's got to resort to just full on flip push, kind of Rat Dota oriented play, try and find pickoffs. They can't find EG side, man.
This could be bad. Is there any backup here? Charge comes out. Going to dive with the double damage, and it is going to wear off now, but they've got the whole squad marching on the high ground. Rod, no such luck, will not have the saves available for him. The back comes out, but there's no real follow-up for it. No wall, no coil of any kind, just the call down. That's all they got, and it barely even ticked EG, hardly hitting anyone aside from the Venge support, and they turn on art style. Auto attacks get the job done.
TPD great, TP's out as well. They're gonna get the TP out on Venge as well. Everybody survives.
Literally a team of invincible heroes at this point. EG living a charmed life. Maybe Universe goes down. No, he has the repel too, and they gotta slowly work him down with auto attacks. They do get the kill. At least the Omni Knight is fallen, but they want more. They know they've got to get some additional vengeance here. Charging, diving, the back to mark.
They can kill him.
The missile. It's so far to dive. Everyone's back in fighting position here.
PPD's already healed up. He's back in position for a grave if they need it. So they get the tier 1, but realistically, that is grim news for NaVi as far as that last fight or 2 went.
And they're already just marching back down mid. 3 heroes for EG. Starting to feel like they've actually turned on invincibility mode. And they can just continue pressuring towers. Yeah. The Eidolon's getting summoned now.
And Universe, as he was like right before he's dying, he's like, okay, I'll just spend my money. Started picking up just for his ag scepter.
Needs a little help. The relocate is gonna save him, but really cost EG a bit.
They see the relocate location if EG wanna do it, but
it's a little bit far to dive without the Omni.
Yeah.
Seems they're gonna slow roll it. Pressure for EG, as you discussed, the late game seems to be in good shape. It gets slow now. Wait for a better opportunity to fully engage once the Black Hole and the Omni Knight are up, and well, I guess the question becomes now, gods, where do NaVi go? They're down on kills. In terms of net worth, the Gyro doing well, but the rest of EG lapping him.
And it's a Gyro with BKB drums, so he hasn't got the best. He's got a Helm that dominates, so he can at least farm Ancients, but I think EG have such good fight, and they could theoretically just be pushing out lanes together and control those Ancients and not allow Gyrocopter just to be able to consistently free farm them. The Helmet dominated Gyro is scarier when the Gyro is like the team being the aggressors and when they're ahead. So in this situation, it's just not going to be quite as powerful.
NaVi do want to get a fight going while that Black Hole's on cooldown. It's 3 hero smoke. Relocate not available yet though, so won't have the IO a little bit longer. They're going to show their puck in the top lane now. Yeah. The Initiator. The Yule Scepter, but the level of items NaVi are acquiring here just doesn't seem to match what EG have. Pause. Raw fixing the hotkeys.
So recent pickup on the medallion for a bit of an unusual, I'd say, wisp item. Perhaps looking to try and make sure they can also get the next Roshan as well. I think for NaVi, that's one important way to kind of keep themselves in the game and be able to take a team fight against EG.
Especially when EG have so many big one-hit wonder ultimates. You live through the Black Hole, the Omni ult, maybe on round 2 you can fight.
But realistically, like putting a medallion on someone in your team doesn't, like EG have lots of good spread damage, and I don't think it necessarily helps a whole lot for your team fight.
Oh no, more for the Aegis.
Yeah.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
They're avoiding team fighting. Like they've got Gyrocopter bottom lane. That T2 town may actually go down. It was very low earlier on. So for EG, they're kind of committing here, but they're not really the best at sieging high ground.
They want to roll up to the outer tower, so they push mid all the way in.
Yep.
And after they've shoved it there, they rotate on that top lane.
So it's like 2 tier 2s for the one at bottom, and it was a tier 2 bottom which was already very low on HP. And I don't. What's probably just going to happen? NaVi, they keep pressuring bottom lane a little bit more. Make sure EG TP back and they don't stay on your side of the map. You don't want to just let the bottom lane not go unpressured here. If you're
curious to see what EG look to do. Do they send someone home? It's not the fastest pushing here, the gyro. They pick the tier 2 and they are going to back.
They need to.
A little bit slow on the retreat though, and off the bat, Benj is almost going to solo down. Seneko swapped out, does get the relocate off. Going to be coming right back and dying soon. Fear has been isolated in the top lane though. Again, they've caught the old man, and this time he goes for it. The massive black hole, the only enemy team almost enough damage, but it was close there from Sumail. Is he going to die for this as well? Perhaps he's underestimated NaVi's willingness to commit to this fight, and what was almost 4 heroes down ends up being a 2-for-1, and big scores for EG with how farm that Enigma is dropping.
You'll look back on that, like win or lose this game and be like, yeah, that was probably one of the more questionable plays we've made.
If the Enigma had like 10 to 15% more HP, I think the black hole goes a little bit longer. Ember maybe auto attacks once or twice, and it's a totally different fight.
It was very close to working out for them, but fortunately not quite. I mean, they had to TP back here as bottom lane. That was always going to be the play for EGs, like TP back 1 or 2 bottom. You want to try and catch the whip, and it looked like Seneko really overstayed bottom lane, letting himself get Venge done. When he just TP'd like right in front of them, but I think it's because NaVi baited with Seneko at bottom lane because they wanted to take the fight top. So like, okay, even when they TP him, we're gonna make him like think they have a kill bottom lane and then just
maybe even give them one, but in order to set up this big play in the top lane.
As a result, black hole on cooldown. That's always a that's the other kind of issue with big team fight is that now NaVi have full access to Roshan at least without the fear of a black hole.
And they deny EG yet another defensive item, so they'll be additionally happy about that. If EG do contest, they're charging towards the pit. Looks like they were scouted out as they smoked. They even get there in time. Not the case. Blinky down into the river, and they still want to go. They're going to lead here with the Ember. Finds the 2 hero chains off the bat, dropping Dendy quite low. Then Remnant's forward, turning his attention towards Seneko. Wants to keep that IO out of the fight, and not quite low enough to get a kill. So Dendy engages. There's the coil. The backup's there from the back wall. They don't have the black hole to turn it around. Universe still with the ultimate, not using it just yet. Fear dropping low, but tanking for ages. And then the Omni Knight ult. They just can't get these kills. Art style on the run, tried for the charge, but he's going to be interrupted by the chain. Seneko could go down next through the trees. He winds his way, but no escape for him. Zinyara has a second life. May well need it as they swap Axmo back in, and Arteezy just continues to pummel him with raw auto attacks. 4 down. A just pops. Perhaps a secondary kill on the gyro coming next. No BKB, no escape. Who needs black hole? EG. All they need is the power of teamwork, and they get 4 and an 8.
That's like the full 5v5 team fight is so heavily EG favored, and I think just mostly because of the pipe plus Greaves that they have on this Enigma. And it's just insane that the black hole is not the important team fight. So if they land a black hole, you sure as hell bet they're going to win the fight in a 5v5 scenario. But for NaVi, lacking damage here, you look at they've got these big teamfight ultimates, Dream Call, Vacuum, the Gyrocopter Cauldron, and they can use these really well together. We've seen a few times where they Dream Call a couple and vacuum them out to get the extra stun on them, but after that, there's no follow-up damage. They need single target burst damage to be able to kill heroes against the Pipe and the Greaves, but that's something NaVi don't have.
Single target is something that EG have in spades. The Sumail goes really deep on Seneko. Won't finish him off. He's now going to turn his attention back towards the puck. Dendy. Oh, the orb was on cooldown, and EG again finding the picks. There is a buyback on the puck. May have to use it. Even if he does, can they hold against the Death Ball? Didn't look like a Death Ball lineup, but the way they've itemized the advantage they've now accrued, it's starting to really feel that way. And by the way, Black Hole is ready, so you'd better be careful if you're NaVi. Fear patiently holding it, probably waiting to counterplay when NaVi engage, and after the charge in, off with his head is the move by the Ember. Nice Brave, able to keep himself alive for now. Arteezy is going to back off, and EG re-engaging. There's the defensive relocate, driving Dignera back towards the tier 4s. They stun him, and they likely finish him. Down he goes as well. Mystery's been solved. EG's lineup is just a bit too strong. 5-man type of engagement. Sherlock, he's figured out the case.
Radiant's middle tower.
They are good looking for the counterplay now. Maybe they can get PPD on the way out. Black Hole was already committed, so they won't have that to try and reinitiate. Yarado being forced back, and Fierce just going to walk his way in onto Seneko. Isolates the IO. Down he goes to raw auto attacks, and they're all back to full HP aside from the Dazzlers. Managed to survive through it all. Naxmo could well be next. There's the charge, trying to keep mail back, but the bash from our style as he retreats towards the well. NaVi just running for the wise point on every stop to minimize the feed, but there is no such luck. Another death. 4 down. EG. Winning Death Ball back in a very unexpected way.
Yeah, that's pretty much that. That was the Omni Enigma kind of duo that gave them the Death Ball. I guess, I mean, I don't think you can take away too much like what Venge and Dazzle bring to the table. Venge just for the auras and what this hero is in like kind of an early game core role. Dazzle, it's still a hero. Peter absolutely loved the hero in the old patch, kept talking about how like this is the hero you just pick and you draft anything around it. So getting as a 5th pick for EG, I think because something they were quite happy with, and they'd probably already kind of kept in mind like, hey, this Omni Enigma Venge like Death Ball is really strong. Just run the Venge as a core, you get a Dazzle in there as well, and there's no way NaVi can teamfight us. You've had not just the mech, the Greaves, you've got Dazzle Shadow Wave, so it was just no way NaVi could actually kill off any one hero there.
So where do you attribute the loss to? Is this just the lanes not getting enough done, better execution by EG? Should they have set things up a bit differently?
I don't think they punished EG's laning stage greed, so EG had 2 very kind of weak points in their laning stage. In fact, they've got a jungling Enigma and an Omni Knight. Omni Knight's really bad in the laning stage. It's kind of why he's not played so much. He doesn't